25 riders started the MotoGP Sprint race this weekend in Jerez, and only 16 finished. And that doesn't count the 5 or 6 riders that crashed, got back on their bike, and actually finished the race. It was mayhem in the sprint today. But before I get into the nitty-gritty details, as always, if you could like, follow, share, mash all the buttons, that would be awesome. But also there's a little programming alert because I will be doing TikTok live at 5 in the morning Pacific time from right here in Los Angeles to the main race in MotoGP this weekend. Yes, I'm getting up at 5 a.m. to watch the race with y'all, so, come join me. But back to the sprint. It was Brad Binder who got the whole shot. He pulled away. It looked like he could have put everyone in the dust and never looked back. But Jorge Martin caught him pretty quickly, and Brad started to fall back. Then he gets into a turn 1 altercation with Marco Bezzecchi and Pecco Bagnaia, who of the 3 got the far worst of the exchange. Pecco had nowhere to go, crashes out of the race yet again. But back at the front, it was Marc Marquez challenging Jorge Martin, and when he took the lead of this race, the roar from the Spanish crowd is like nothing I have ever heard in MotoGP. And that is when the crash fest really began. We saw Enea Bastianini, Brad Binder, and Alex Marquez all go down, just boop, boop, boop. Didn't hit each other, hit the same spot on the track, and just slid out in the gravel. 2 seconds later, I'm telling you, 2 seconds later, Marc Marquez crashes out of the lead. So now we had a podium of Jorge Martin, Pedro Acosta, and Maverick Viñales, who had started way back in the field, until Viñales crashes out of 3rd. Who does that promote up into the 3rd place spot? Fabio Quartararo, who had come from 23rd on the grid, was riding around in 9th when all of these crashes started happening, suddenly finds himself in a podium battle with Dani Pedrosa. I was losing my stuff at this point. So because of all the action behind him, Jorge Martin cruises to victory. Pedro Acosta, that's the easiest sprint podium he's ever going to find. And Fabio Quartararo holds off Dani Pedrosa to get that final spot on the podium. But wait, we have tire pressure penalties, and Fabio Quartararo is the victim of first such penalty this season, bumping him back to 5th place and putting Dani Pedrosa on the podium. Now, the best part of that whole thing, since they'd done the podium celebration and Fabio Quartararo was wearing the medal around his neck, he kindly took it off, signed the back of it, love Dani, signed it, Fabio Quartararo, and handed it over personally to the MotoGP legend. So that means Franco Morbidelli was promoted into 4th, Fabio Quartararo finishes 5th, and Marc Marquez, who'd remounted very quickly from his crash in the lead of the race, ends up finishing 6th as he basically barged his way through everyone else. And if you've made it this far in the video, please join me at 5 a.m. Pacific, 8 a.m. Eastern, that's not so early, for a little bit of live TikTok reaction to the main Grand Prix tomorrow morning. Come watch it with me live, y'all.